City Council welcomes all members of the public to please come forward and address your concerns to me and to the City Council. So, first speaker, please.
Alan Lowe. First, I'd like to thank you again. After I was at the podium at the last meeting, I again got another email from the city explaining city point of view and so forth, and I really appreciate that. This is something that should have been done all along, and I think it's making people that come to the podium and in the public feel like they're being heard. So I think it's an excellent thing, and thank you very much. Once again, I'm standing here about the saltwater canal issue in Palm Coast, and I think there's a little bit of a misunderstanding. I don't know of anybody that's expecting the money to appear from nowhere and canals to start being dredged like tomorrow. What's being looked for is recognition of the issue, which I think you're doing, and then having meetings to determine the best foot forward and funding and things like that. To that end, I have put together some documentation that shows the ownership of the canals. I put in here the permits for when ITT first built the canals in the 1970s. The depth of the canals, the specified depths were 12 feet for the main canals, 8 feet for the finger canals. There's a survey that the city did in 2005 showing all the depths of the canals and how they have begun to fill in since the original, and probably worse now. Well, it is worse now. Now there's dry ground in some areas at low tide. There's documentation in here where an emergency dredging was done over by the what's now called the channel, used to be called the Yacht Club. There was a washout there, and the city dredged the canal, so the city recognized the need to maintain navigation in those canals. There was a discussion in 2018 on a tax increase for the stormwater maintenance. Part of that included saltwater canals. I put that in here as well. When Matt Morton was city manager, he put out for a position they were looking to hire a person to head up a maintenance program for freshwater canals and saltwater canals. So again, the city recognized it. And I've also put in here an executive summary and some of the budget information for Cape Coral over on the Gulf. They have saltwater canals as well. They have recognized their requirement to maintain them for both stormwater drainage and as an amenity for navigation and boating and so forth. They do their own dredging. They found it to be cheaper. I put the information in here for you. And I apologize for not having one for everybody. This past weekend I got married, and things kind of went out of control for a few days, so I apologize for that. I'd like to hand this over.
Please do.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and we congratulate you on your nuptials.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Next speaker, please.
Steve Carr, Palm Coast. The traffic on Florida Park is really horrible, but they had a traffic study and they said that the noise decimal was 64.5, the same as a normal conversation. If you put somebody at the roadside talking to another person and traffic comes by, I will guarantee you they have to talk louder. It's not the same as normal conversation decibels. It's totally different. You can put somebody at the side of the road and let them talk, and then go into my house and listen. And what will you hear? Will you hear the traffic, or will you hear them talking? I'm just letting you know it's not the same. So, I mean, the traffic study says that 64.5 decibels is the same as normal conversation. I don't believe it. I'm just letting you know. Okay. So also, I'm awakened several times at night because of the traffic. And any doctor tells you that a good night's sleep is essential to health. So it's something needs to really be done about the amount of traffic over there. I'll read a couple of studies that have gone out there. Even low-level constant traffic noise harms children's health. road traffic noise, sleep, and mental health. How background traffic affects concentration, harms children's ability to study. Traffic noise causes heart attacks and early death. So there's a lot out there on traffic noise. One study says, warning, areas within 1,000 feet of a major roadway contain substances known to cause respiratory illness, heart disease, cancer, and reproductive harm. So there's all kind of, like I said, there's all kind of studies out there for us to take a look at. And I've furnished some of the studies to the city council about the harm of these studies to the people that these studies are showing. So if the World Health Organizations and universities around the world are doing these studies about how close proximity traffic is harming residents, then why don't we take it to heart? That's what I'm asking, because I know that I'm disturbed all the time at night with traffic. So I would like some other kind of study done besides just the conversation decimals. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your comment. The next speaker, please.
Robert McDonald, Palm Coast. For the last couple of weeks even, maybe even last couple of months, a lot of residents have got up and spoke about their displeasure about the city possibly doing work on the saltwater canals and the lagoons and all of the waterways. A lot of people, when they first moved to Palm Coast, they moved here because we have certain amenities. We have golf courses, we have tennis courts, we now have pickleball, we have sporting venues for our children to play in. Well, that's not really an amenity. There's only one amenity in the whole city of Palm Coast. And I'm going to surprise you all by telling you what the only amenity in this entire city of Palm Coast is. And that's our roads. It's the only amenity we have. Because you need that, every resident in this city needs those roads to go back and forth to work, go to school, go to all the other so-called amenities. So our roads are the only amenities. So, and the city's sent out 8,000 surveys to residents asking them what they should do. Well, I called the city and asked why and only 8,000 people. I was told it was done scientifically. Well, what happens to the other 92,000 people who live here? We have a right to vote on what we should spend our money on and what we shouldn't spend our money on. Now, for the people who live on the canals, those canals were there probably before you got here. You knew all the good and the bad of living on a canal. But the other, 90,000 people who don't live on a canal, I don't think we should have to pay for a repair of a canal. And like I said before, the only thing we should pay for is our roads. And that's what we're doing right now out on Beltan. By the way, they're doing a great job. So whoever hired that company, he did a good job. It's a little inconvenient, but that's okay. When it's all done, we'll have a nice, even, pretty, nice road. But that's the only thing that all of the residents of the city should be paying for is our roads, because those roads are our amenities.
Thank you for your comment. Is there another speaker for this evening? Yes, sir.
Gary Kunis, C-section. First, I want to thank you all for getting involved in this dredging, putting forth the efforts to see that it gets it done. And I believe that the grants and the tax money we're paying on our seawalls and docks will pay for that handsomely without additional taxes, not adding additional costs to our water bills like you did for the freshwater canal dredging. But I also think it's very important for you to look at these thatching plates for lawnmowers. And instead of having lead blowers, have lead vacuums. Instead of blowing all the tons of grass in the canal every week that these people do. Because that's harming the environment also. Once we get that part of it done, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please.
Oh, hello. I'm Brian Sudrain, and I'm the president of the Junior Chamber of Commerce. And so basically I founded the organization about a year ago, and it aims to connect high school students and college students to professionals. So basically, we do this by three main ways. So one is career exploration through guest speakers. The second one is events highlighting key like initiatives that the community is doing, and especially the youth is trying to highlight. So for example, we did an event with Congressman Michael Waltz, and also a forum for the Flagler Beach mayoral election when it happened back in 2020. And so also we aim to sponsor student-led clubs other than the Junior Chamber of Commerce to give them a structure to further expand and achieve their goals. And so recently we've helped a group called Lead Children. And so they focus on under 5-year-old development and learning. And so basically we found that there was a strong correlation between substance abuse and the environment it creates and early childhood development. And so we are doing an event in the Palm Coast Community Center February 16th from 6 to 8. And Mr. Alfin, Mayor Alfin will be doing the intro, so I want to thank him for doing that. We'll also have a panel constituting of Sheriff Staley, Judge Perkins, Cynthia Lane, Dr. Carter, and a health professional from Flagler Health Plus. And so the goal is going to be to find solutions and spread awareness about this topic since it's so key. So the name is Flagler Youth Substance Abuse Prevention Forum. So I hope if you're interested that you can come. It's free. There'll be Chick-fil-A catering, and so it's just a nice night out and to be positive and learn about the community. So I want to thank once again Mayor Alfin and Councilman Klufas for having helped us grow the organization. And so basically I hope that, you know, if you guys want to get involved and help us, you reach out to me. And then I had a little question that anyone in here can think about, and it's for some food for thought. So with the numerous opportunities offered to the youth in our community, like the IB program, clubs, and community-sponsored activities, are you worried that a part of the youth that does not engage in these opportunities may be disconnected and fall into substance abuse or other negative behavior? If so, how do you plan on combating this? So, thank you for listening, and have a good night.
That was February 16 at what time?
6 to 8 p.m. Hope to see you.
Brian, good work. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Stone, 63 Simmon Drive. I've been before you guys for years now, 7 years. Different cabinet makers, city people. You keep on talking about the traffic on Cimarron. I know you're getting close. I got two questions. Is there a way residents could get a copy of what's been proposed to you? I'm correcting the problem?
So this is for your comment. We don't question and answer at this time, but I think you'll find that there'll be a additional discussion in the agenda later in this evening.
Okay, and the other thing is, where there's a 60 miles per hour and it's in yellow, and I've worked a lot with the police department from Flagler County, getting traffic patrol out there. I understand people can't be ticketed if they're going more than 20, because there's a not illegal sign for speeding. Would you consider making that on the curve, white stone, that they could get a ticket? I could tell you, I walk with a limp. I've had blood clots in my legs for 45 years. They killed a lot of the blood vessels in my leg in November, and people just don't care. They speed down that street like there's no tomorrow. So I understand this could be a costly project. Would you at least consider making that yellow sign white so people will take it serious and they get ticketed?
Thank you for your comments. Are there any additional speakers at this time? Yes, sir.
Good evening. I live at 164.
If you would just announce yourself, your name, please.
Okay, my name is Dan Lukac, and 164 Rolling Sands Drive. And I know I heard a lot of talking about the saltwater canals problems. I want to draw your attention to the state of our freshwater canals. Sometimes they look like extension of our sewer system in Palm Coast. And we discussed it with your deputy, with a gentleman who is in charge of stormwater canals. Promises were made, nothing happens. Very bad condition of those canals. And as a part of it, the ditch next to my house, which when I move in a house, I spend a lot of time kind of trying to fix the problem because of, to me, it's very catastrophic erosion from the rains we have, and I try to fix it, but talked to supervisor, which Mike Brennan, he's not working here anymore, and we discussed it with him, this problem, and unfortunately nothing happens. I'm talking to the supervisor, which works now with Mr. Hull, and again we discussed a lot of how it can be fixed, but at this point it's just like a war zone, you know, from the heavy equipment which work there. So today it's the condition much worse than it used to be. You know, of course they brought people working there. I just enjoy watching them. People are working great, but supervision is terrible. And it's left in a condition which would require one of you attention, maybe just somebody can come and take a look. I have a lot of pictures I can provide how it's done, and it's not acceptable. It's very unprofessional. This is what I wanted to tell you. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there a next speaker?
Good evening. My name is Mike Cochill of Palm Coast. I wanted to speak about the, I spoke before about the marina, Palm Coast Marina, and the canals. Two things. One is the marina is the waterside welcome center for Palm Coast. It does draw people in, and it is in dire need of investment. I would like to see and some kind of a look into a public-private partnership to maintain that marina in a condition that is, let's call it a credit to Palm Coast. Right now, it is falling into the water, and for people who are coming in on boats, it does not say anything good about Palm Coast. I know personally, having worked there for years, that it brings in people who invest in Palm Coast. They come by boat, they stay, they sell their boats, they buy houses. It's important. We've got to do something with that. It doesn't have long to go. The canals, I heard some speakers say, well, I don't want to pay for the canals. Well, I'm sitting here, I don't have kids in schools, I don't bicycle on the paths, I don't play basketball, I don't play tennis, I don't play pickleball. Why should I pay for any of that? The point is that we gather together as a community and pay for things as a community that we cannot pay for individually. Those canals are a water, that is, for you, if you live on them, that is just like a road and should be maintained just like a road. Even as we sit here, they're silting in even worse. At some point, you've got to do something. Otherwise, the canal system fails. People on the canals cannot get their boat to the intracoastal. We got, 19 miles of intracoastal or something like that. We have got to keep those canals open. It is a prominent feature, maybe the biggest feature we have here in Palm Coast that draws in people who buy homes, people who bring in their boats. By the way, I want to go back to the marina one more time, the fuel station there. It is the only fuel station for boats from St. Augustine all the way down to Daytona. That's a run of about 60 miles. Even in small boats, you get about 2 miles to a gallon in a gasoline boat at cruising speed, about 2 miles to a gallon. So that's untenable. You can't drive or you can't ride your boat 30 miles up to St. Augustine to get gas and 30 miles back. You've already burnt most of the gas you pumped. So that has to be maintained. So I recommend strongly that you do a study, look at the canals, find out just what you have to do to maintain them. And the second thing is, look at the marina. It's owned by a private investor right now. I know they are not putting anything into the canals, don't want to own it, and are trying to unload it as far as I know. It's still for sale. And I recommend you look at a public-private partnership to perhaps gain authority over that marina and maintain it as a jewel in Palm Coast's crown. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there another speaker? Seeing no other speakers at this time, I would just direct the interim city manager. You have a note on each of the comments this evening. So for the audience, your comment will be recorded on our Palm Coast Connect system. So you will be able to follow the progress, and as I've said in prior meetings, you will get a complete, full, transparent, and accurate answer. It may involve several different departments within the city, which is why I refrain from answering directly. I want to make sure you get the correct information, and you will be able to follow its progress on our Palm Coast Connect system. So with that, though, I would ask each of my fellow city council members, would anyone like to address any of the specific comments this evening?
I just have a question.
Please.
Probably for our city manager. Where are we in the search for a firm, a consulting firm on the canals?
I would ask Carl Cody if you could come up, please, just to verify the timeline.
Yes, we did have some consultation with an engineering firm that would be able to perform that type of analysis. They do have a contract with the Florida Inland Navigation District. They do a lot of their services. They are under continuing service contract with the city, but for another function, so we're looking to hire them another way at this time. So we're looking to move that forward, just we can't do it under our existing contract we already have with them.
So we're only talking to one firm?
Yes, they are highly qualified. They do all the fine dredging, have done for many, many, many years, and they've also done this statewide for other municipalities. They come very well qualified for doing this type of service.
Okay, I thought we were going to have a couple of firms or a few firms for us to choose from. Is that not correct?
Well, the way I understood, let me try. Normally what we would do is we would look at the scope of the project, at which point then we would issue perhaps an RFP in order to bring in whoever might be interested in doing the work once we knew the scope of the project. So I think, and Carl, correct me if I'm wrong, the analysis is to determine the scope, which would then generate RFP, which would then go out to multiple firms. I mean, I understand your point, of course.
That's
certainly
fine.
Not a single source, no, and it would be transparent through the process.
Okay, and our timeline again on this?
we would have, that would be part of the process of putting that together. I don't know what the timeline is for them to complete the scope of the work, but we are looking to finalize to kick that off and piecing that portion together.
Okay.
So it is in the works, we're working on it in the background.
But they haven't given you a timeline on how long it would take to come in and size up our problems and?
Right, because it can vary, so we need to define how far in the weeds do we want to get, how high level do we want this first analysis to be on the scope, because the scope can include a multi-tiered system, so city staff is analyzing what should be in that initial scope. We are finalizing that now and should have that put together very shortly.
Okay, if you could just keep us up to date, and I think every day these canals continue to fill in. I think time is of the essence that we begin
So
now to start
Might I
this process.
suggest we ask the interim city manager to update us at each subsequent meeting?
Excellent.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Carl, don't go nowhere because I may still need you. Mr. Dan Lukacs, I've been to your place 3 times, okay? And, excuse me, except for one time, I had people from stormwater canals. Started with a problem with a moss, which apparently no longer exists, and apparently telling that's the erosion. I went by, excuse me, sir, excuse me, we cannot go back and forth. I'm just letting you know, you said what you had to say, and I'm answering it, okay, with all due respect, of course. Yes, sir. And the erosion you're talking about, once again, I didn't see it. Took someone there from stormwater to look at it, and still didn't see it. But please give me a call tomorrow, and I'll go there again, if possible, with somebody from stormwater, to one more time. Hold on, sir. We cannot go back and forth. I'm just letting you know, if you be so kind and listen to me, okay? We could do it. I didn't see it the last time, which was a few months ago. For the 3rd time, I did not see the erosion you're talking about. But then again, I'll go see it again with somebody from stormwater, if you don't mind, sir. Okay? Thank you.
Does that take care of Carl?
Yes, yes.
Carl, thank you.
That was the need for it.
Additional comment from City Council? Councilman Barbosa, anything? Councilman Clufus?
No, I would just note that we are, one of the resolution items is approving a work order for the pedestrian accommodation feasibility study, so that's going to be directly related to the initiatives that many residents have brought forward, including the Cimarron issues. So one of the residents spoke out about that, of when we're going to act, and we actually have an item on for one of our resolutions tonight.
Very good. So at this point in time, I will close public participation at this time. And we will move forward, and since we have the Junior Chamber of Commerce here to help train them up as well as ourselves, before we begin today, I want to take a moment to discuss City Council processes relating to approval or denial of items presented to City Council at all business meetings. For each workshop, City Council receives a comprehensive overview of each item. At that time, it is Council's opportunity to provide opinions and ask questions on each item. Just as a reminder, items that are quasi-judicial in nature will require Council to base their decisions on only what is presented at the scheduled public hearings conducted at the scheduled business meetings. The purpose of a business meeting is for Council to review and weigh all the evidence and take action with decisions based on all information presented both at the prior workshop and today. Thank you. With that, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes which were generated at the January 18th, 2022 business meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion, and I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We now move to the next section of the meeting, which are our proclamations and presentations. And if I would ask Vice Mayor Branchino to make the first proclamation, please. Thank you.
We have anybody here from the,
Yes.
has somebody here from the? Yes.
Hi.
With all due respect, I don't want to turn my back on anybody, so please don't respect. Proclamation. Whereas approximately 3,500 children are diagnosed with leukemia every year in the United States, a cancer of the bone, marrow, and blood, accounting for 28% of all cancers in children. And whereas bone marrow transplant is prominent treatment for children having this specific type of blood cancer, with the procedure being to perform successful graft by removing the child's diseased bone marrow and replacing it with healthy tissue. Whereas thousands of patients with blood cancers depend on renowned Beat the Match registry to find an identical match to save their lives, with the likelihood of success ranging from 29 to 79%. And whereas the Beat the Match organization is a global leader in pairing bone marrow transplant candidates, conducting research to improve outcomes and providing support and resources for patients and partners. And whereas Beat the Match is presently the most critical resource of 17-year-old Palm Coast resident Esperanza.
I know.
Excuse me. Esperanza Bass, who's battling cancer. Put up pacified pictures. Once again, I'm sorry. I just lost a child. So, even though it's not for cancer, this touched me. Whereas raising awareness for people to consider becoming bone marrow donors and after the gift of life of any Palm Coast citizen is one essential commitment for the community that cares profoundly about the well-being of our youngest, oldest, weakest, and strongest residents. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Palm Coast Mayor and the City Council recognize February 2022 as Beat the Match Bone Marrow Donor Month in Palm Coast. And the wish for S. Bass and all Palm Coast residents dealing with the life-threatening challenges to remember their community stands tall behind them with all of the hope and inspiration. Signed this first day of February 2022, witnessed by the Virginia Smith and signed by David Alphen, Mayor. Do you have anything? This is your proclamation.
I'm gonna leave this with the mayor for the family.
Yes.
And I'll contact Shannon, who's Essie's mom, and let her know that she can pick it up in the city.
I thank you very much.
Vice Mayor, take a picture, please.
Can I read, am I allowed to read this? Can I read this or no? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Vice Mayor, thank you. You all have always been so supportive in every event we as residents need help with, no matter how big or small the event or the resident. Now, as Vice Mayor Eddy said, one of our own students is facing a life-threatening situation and needs a miracle. Plainview, nothing but a miracle. Our own Essie is a 17-year-old student fighting for her life, and unfortunately the only thing that can save her is that miracle. We've had three fund drives, and they have been pretty successful. The most recent that the family's done was down at Finn's in Flagler Beach. She currently battles a rare blood disease that most children, remember that word children, don't even get, and honestly speaking, the chemotherapy isn't doing it for her. With her cultural background as a young Hispanic, she only has a 48% chance of ever finding a match. She needs a marrow transplant so she can have a whole life ahead of her, continue to be the athlete and the student she is, if someone out there could be her match. I'm asking you to contact the mayor or go to Be The Match website and sign up to get a kit and spread the word and show her and everyone else the support they all deserve. If you aren't able to swap because of age or health issues, please then just come and share the word, and then maybe we can help save her life or someone else's. We thank you, city, council, and residents. Thank you.
We thank you for giving of yourself, giving your heart, and making it possible for these people to have a chance at life. So we can't say enough. We've seen your efforts out there. Thank you. The gratitude is endless. We have another proclamation, Councilman Clufus.
All right, if you don't mind, I'll move this up here. Okay. Thanks for being here tonight. Mayor, Council, whereas the City of Palm Coast is committed to the well-being and protection of our youth, the safety of our communities, and to fostering a society based upon mutual respect for one another with zero tolerance for any forms of victimization and abuse. And whereas teen dating violence is a serious crime that can involve physical, sexual, verbal, emotional, economic, or other abusive behavior, including harassment and cyberbullying via texting, emailing, instant messaging, or posting on social media. And whereas women who are 16 to 24 years in age are more vulnerable to intimate partner violence, experience abuse at a rate of nearly triple the national average. And whereas 1 in 3 adolescents in the United States is a victim of physical, emotional, or verbal abuse from dating a partner, a figure that far exceeds rates of other types of youth violence. 1 in 10 high school students has been purposefully hit, slapped, or physically harmed by a boyfriend or girlfriend. 1 in 10 reported sexual victimization from a dating partner. And 1 in 4 teens in a relationship report their boyfriend or girlfriend isolating them from all friends and family. And whereas young people who have been victimized by an abusive dating partner can experience serious negative effects to their physical and emotional health, are more likely to be depressed, develop low self-esteem, perform poorly in school, engage in risky behaviors such as drug and alcohol abuse, and contemplate or attempt suicide. And whereas while dating violence affects teens across all races, genders, religions, nationalities, sexual orientations, and socioeconomic statuses, it disproportionately affects lesbian, gay, and bisexual youth who experience rates of intimate partner violence that are almost twice as high as the rates for their heterosexual youth. Transgender youth even report higher rates of victimization and dating violence than heterosexual peers. And whereas parents and guardians of victims of dating abuse are often unaware of the problem, studies show that only 33% of teens in an abusive relationship ever told anyone about the behavior, and 81% of parents responded either that teen dating abuse is not an issue or they did not know whether it was an issue. And whereas Flagler County Advocates Alliance, comprised of the Flagler County Sheriff's Office Victim Advocates, Flagler Beach Police Department Victim Advocate, State Attorney's Victim Advocate, 7th Judicial Circuit Flagler, and Family Life Center, are working together to increase public understanding of this problem and mobilize community efforts to end human trafficking. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, that February 2022 be officially designated as National Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month in Palm Coast, and applaud the efforts of the many victim service providers, police officers, prosecutors, national community organizations, and private sector supporters for their efforts in promoting awareness about teen dating violence. Signed the first day of February 2022, City of Palm Coast Mayor David Alphen. Thank you. Ms. Baker, if you absolutely like to say a few words?
Yeah.
Sure. You want to sit this way? Sure, absolutely. Yeah, after you.
Hello, my name is Taylor Scalf. I'm the youth advocate at Family Life Center. I would like to express my deepest gratitude on the behalf of Family Life Center for taking the time to have us here so we can acknowledge and bring awareness to teen dating violence. It is incredibly important to understand that intimate partner violence is not just an adult issue, but is very prevalent in the lives of teens. In fact, most victims of intimate partner abuse are women ages 16 to 24. They also have the highest rate of mortality due to intimate partner violence. I believe that it is important to open up the conversation about teen dating violence in hopes of survivors having a safe space to tell their story and preventing an increase in victims. My hope is that As a community, Palm Coast, alongside FLC, our partners, supporters, and generous donors, we uplift teens, educate them on healthy and unhealthy relationship habits, and create a safe space to continue to prevent teen dating violence. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Would you like to remind those in the audience and those online how we can reach out and support the Family Life Center? Sure. That would be great.
Thank you. Hi, Candace Wilkie, Domestic Violence Services Coordinator at the Family Life Center. Our crisis hotline, 24-hour crisis hotline, is available through text, talk, or TTY. It's 386-437-3505. We have advocates available 24 hours a day, 365. The work does not stop. So we are available at any time, also through our website, which is familylifecenterflagler.org, or you can call our administrative offices, 386-437-7747. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Thanks.
These are very difficult and emotional discussions to have. I am very proud that we are able to have them here in public at the City of Palm Coast. For these people to come up and talk about these tragic situations, the difficulties in our lives, this is how our community comes together, by talking about how difficult this is, how emotional this can be. So I commend all of you for stepping forward to share with us so that we can build our community stronger. So thank you all. Next, we have a presentation on the Flagler Access Center. Good evening.
Good evening. We have a PowerPoint. I'm not sure how that works here. Is it this clicker?
Well, we have a PowerPoint expert, which will be here momentarily.
All right. It's very, very brief. My name is Rhonda Harvey. I'm the Chief Operating Officer with SMA Healthcare. Our main office is at 150 Magnolia Avenue in Daytona Beach. Thank you, Mayor Alphen, Vice Mayor Eddie, I believe, and council members for hearing us this morning. My sole purpose for being here today is to introduce you to SMA Healthcare and the services that we have here in Flagler County. It looks like we have this going now, so. Slide 1, please. 2. Maybe. You may remember about a week ago, but a week and a half or so ago, we opened our Flagler Access Center, which is a collaboration with the County of Flagler to improve access to services and to expand the services that SMA Healthcare and other agencies offer here in Flagler County. Just keep going. This is a timeline that kind of goes from 1985, which is one of our first steps here in Flagler County, but as early as late 90s, we had a very small substance use outpatient office located in the brick building just on the other side of the tracks on 100. From there, a few years later, we opened a detox and residential center, which was used fairly regularly by the community, and then we lost funding for it. So we have a facility and no funding. And Vince Carter and his mother stepped forward and developed at that point a private substance abuse treatment facility for people who could pay for their services. It was not community-based. That did not fly really well for us here in East Central Florida. So what we ultimately did is moved one of our larger residential programs into it so that it wasn't a waste of time. Since then, we've grown by leaps and bounds, and ending up today where we are with a couple of different locations. I am not going to do this. This slide is in here because my boss, the CEO, is a CPA, and I will tell you, I am not the one. I will butcher this, but I do have, if you could continue to get to the pie chart. Okay, this works. Okay, we provide clinical services in 6 counties. That's Volusia, Flagler, St. John's, Putnam, more recently Marion and Citrus counties. The green spaces on this map denote service contracts. We have an enrichment program that employs disabled individuals, and we operate service contracts in all of the blue areas and the 2 green areas throughout East Central Florida. The service contracts, if you are at any of the rest areas and you see the young men and women that are cleaning the rest areas, these are some of the employees of our enrichment program. So we have those contracts. They also, we provide the janitorial services for the VA center here in the area, so, thanks. We have a full component of treatment programs, everything from respite and runaway for youth, up through residential treatment programming for adult men, everything in between. We offer the full spectrum of case management, care, coordination, crisis services. We have a mobile response team. We do suicide prevention. Really and truly the entire spectrum. One of the things that we have recognized is that there seems to be here in Flagler County, it's like we're new. And we've been here for a long time, so what we do know is that we have a message problem, and we want to make sure that the community knows how to get a hold of us. The easiest and the simplest way is to walk straight into the Access Center there at the corner of US 1 and Moody Boulevard. If I read all those, I'll run way over 3 minutes. Okay, last year we served just over 26,000 clients throughout primarily the 4-county area. With us including Marion Citrus, we will probably increase our patient load by about 25% in the coming year. Oh, there's another timeline. So I've already gone through that. You can skip that. These denote the programs that we have and how they are funded. The Anti-Drug Initiative is a diversion program with the State Attorney's Office. It's kind of fallen out of use in recent days, but in conversations with the State Attorney, they're interested in us re-upping it. It's in green because that is the only program that we have that is 100% funded by the participant themselves. So if it's not used, there's not enough funding to keep it. The blue, the ones that are listed in blue there are all programs that are funded through state dollars. They come down through a managing entity, Lutheran Services of Florida. And then we have the Zero Suicide Care Coordination Grant and Mental Health First Aid. Both are funded through federal contracts. At our Access Center, I know there's been quite a bit of discussion about it, but it is a walk-in, get services right away type of a center. We will be doing screenings for individuals, and instead of referring them to services or giving them a phone number or directions on how to get somewhere, we're going to actually either provide the service on site or link them to a service within our or another spectrum of care that works for this individual. We will work with them on transportation, case management, and the full spectrum. We just want to get the message out that an individual that is in need of behavioral health services, they need to raise their hand up and say, I need help, or have a family member bring them to us. We want to be accessible. This is an overview of the diagnoses that we have seen with individuals who have a zip code that lies within Flagler County. For whatever reason, over the years, we have become known as a drug treatment agency. Thank you. We want to be your drug treatment agency, but that particular population comprises about 25% of the individuals that we serve. The other 75% are a variety of mental health disorders, anything from depression, anxiety disorders, up through schizophrenia, and other things such as that. The type of services that we have provided to Flagler County residents in the last year, primarily it's been outpatient treatment, mental health or substance use treatment, and case management. We have provided 2,100 we've provided outpatient services to 2,100 Flagler County residents, and this is unduplicated 379 walk-in for screenings. That is either the outpatient screening there here in Flagler County, or they have walked in to our emergency crisis in Daytona Beach. And then in residential CSU or detox services, about 300 Flagler residents have been served. We also have a primary care office, but it is in Daytona. 49 Flagler County residents have used that service in Daytona Beach. We just have a couple more slides. In summary, we have served about 28, almost 2,900 patients were served, over 4,500 services delivered. And when we calculated that with the expense, the money that was expended to provide that service, it's just over $8,500,000. What's next? Our plan, we have been working with the Advent Hospital to get the bridge program going. I don't know if you're familiar with that. There's a lot of red tape that we have to get through to get the two different service systems operating in concert with all of the regulatory standards that each of us have to operate under. That's been underway for about a year, and we think we're getting really, really close to doing it because we've broken the ice in other Advent hospitals. Our goal is also to create, I don't know if you're familiar with medication-assisted treatment, but that is a medication-assisted treatment that is directly responsive to the opioid crisis. We recently applied for, but was not successful in getting a large grant through the federal government to open a center here in Flagler County. That still remains our mission, and we are continuing to try to figure out how to do that. We will apply for every grant that comes down the pike. Our hope is that with the opioid settlement that is coming, that there will be a lot more opportunities for us to pull that particular effort off. We are working in partnership with just about anybody that wants to work in this community to provide these services. It's just one of our strengths is collaboration. I believe that's it. So thank you for hearing us out.
We thank you for that wealth of information, and I think your point about messaging and the reinforcement of messaging, I would ask the interim city manager and Ms. Kershaw as well that to reach out. I think that the city has resources that we can use to, push that message out into the community so that you become even better known within our city of Palm Coast. So thank you.
Well, you are so welcome. I want to encourage, each of you has a copy of our annual report. I would ask that you keep it in your office because if you have somebody coming in, there is a lot of information in there that I think could be helpful in pointing them in the right direction. Or if you want to know how we've done something, it could get you started. You can always call me, you can call Alicia, or you can walk in and see Alicia. She'll be there at the Access Center. So.
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda, G, is resolutions. And if I would ask the counselor to read the title in, please. Sheriff?
Yes, this is agenda item number 5, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, approving the terms and conditions of the license agreement with Flagler County Sheriff's Office for access to city-owned cameras, authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing for implementing actions, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Doug Akins, IT Director. Some time ago, Flagler County Sheriff's Office reached out to us about gaining access to all the city-owned cameras for use in their real-time crime center. So the city granted that access, and the resolution before you tonight is just to formalize that process and kind of lay out the roles and responsibilities of both parties in that agreement. We want to take the opportunity, though, to kind of show you the benefit that these partnerships provide to the city. So here tonight is members of the Flagler County Sheriff's Office, including Rick Staley, the sheriff, to present their real-time crime center.
Good evening, Sheriff.
Good evening. Excuse me. Good evening, Mayor and council members. You've been dealing with a lot of issues this morning that are or this afternoon that are kind of sad. But it's good that you're discussing them, and we share those issues, obviously, and one of my employees lost her 20-year-old daughter today from cancer, so, you know, it goes everywhere. So we're going to try to change the tone a little bit for you. So with me tonight is Commander Joe Barilli. He is the commander of our Homeland Security section, and next to him is Nikki North, is the supervisor of our Real-Time Crime Center. So we're going to briefly explain why this partnership between the City of Palm Coast and the Sheriff's Office is so important, but we're not going to divulge all the details on how we get the criminals so quick and put them in the Green Roof Inn. So that's still tactics that we're not going to divulge. But I think you'll see tonight just how well this partnership works. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Commander Barilli.
Thank you, Sheriff. Since the Crime Center was developed about 3 years ago, the City of Palm Coast traffic cameras have played a vital role in our success. Since the beginning, Nikki North has started out as one of our original crime analysts. She's then the senior analyst, and she's now the supervisor. So I'm going to let her show some of the little success stories we've had. You have a PowerPoint somewhere. Oh, it's already up.
I'll drive it for you.
Thanks, Sheriff. As they said, I'm Supervisor Nikki North over the Real-Time Crime Center. We wanted to start off by saying we appreciate the partnership for sure and giving us the opportunity to utilize the traffic cameras. First, you'll see we pretty much have a giant big screen that is pretty much our full wall in the Real-Time Crime Center, and that is where we keep the traffic cameras pretty much up 24/7. We are not just sitting there watching them. We only utilize them if a crime is occurring. So we monitor our radio or call screen to see what's coming in. So that's just kind of what we look at, what we see. Again, we don't always watch it though. We're utilizing it for criminals. We're not just watching it for the sake of watching it. So an example, one of our most recent ones was we had some criminals come over from Texas. They drove pretty much straight to Palm Coast from Texas. There's several rings out of that area that have been all across the state over the last few months, pretty much the last year. We were able to utilize the traffic cameras in conjunction with business video to identify a suspect vehicle. We were able to track the vehicle on the traffic cameras in order to develop further information regarding the suspect vehicle, which tied it back to actually discovering they had stolen a vehicle within our city as well. And ultimately, through other investigative techniques, they were able to track them to Tallahassee, and it has pretty much gone to a federal case at this point where they're tying these criminals to several cases across the state and across the country. Another one, just a different variation of what we use them for. We had a series of smash and grab burglaries. So for those of you that don't know what that is, it's where someone will go up and smash a car window, typically to obtain purses, wallets, any high valuable items within a car. These most commonly occur at parks and beach approaches or that type of nature. So in this case, at Waterfront Park, a suspect went up to the car, busted the window, and took the purse. We were able to, as the call was coming in, we were able to locate a suspect vehicle. We were able to track that vehicle on the traffic cameras. And sure enough, as the vehicle was pulling out of Walmart, our deputies were able to set up stop sticks in neighboring areas and were able to stop stick them and locate the burglars in that case. And in this case, they actually had, some of them had several warrants from all across the east coast of the US. And then just probably our most unique one we've had since we've had the traffic cameras, this one's a little older, from the middle of last year. There is a gentleman, Christopher Holmes, on several traffic cameras. He was just running through the intersections. He would go up to cars, pull open the door, go in people's cars, take their phones out of their console, pretty much anything and everything he could get to. He was just trying to get attention. They ultimately ended up locating him near the hotels, but we were actually able to we pretty much Zoomed our deputies and were able to show them the videos as it was happening to just add to their charges for once they were able to locate him. So these are just quite a few of the cases. I mean, we're using these for anything and everything you can think of to help us solve crimes on a daily basis. So it's been a great partnership to have. Thank you.
So I would just like to tell you on that one case that they drove from Texas here, why they ultimately came off the interstate in the Flagler is anybody's guess, but that was their undoing. But one of the rocket scientists that we arrested was wearing an ankle monitor from Texas. So once we identified him and arrested him, he was actually caught by a trooper in Santa Rosa County up in the Panhandle area, and their whole crime spree unraveled, and I'm sure they're gonna enjoy federal prison.
Well, the good news is they weren't coming here for the lifestyle that all of us came here for, because I know at your Green Roof Inn, the lifestyle is not nearly what the rest of us expect in the community.
How do you know?
There's no canals.
He has seen the 1-star rating. But I will just let you know that the city of Palm Coast access to the cameras, the cases that were highlighted tonight, may not have been solved without that support. And we have cameras from businesses, owners that let us have access when we need them, and throughout Flagler County, and to include other technology that we have implemented. So we appreciate it, and I hope that you approve the resolution tonight.
Of course it's gonna be approved. You're kidding me? And, Sheriff, don't run away from me. I'm scared of you. Every time you come there, you kinda scare me. In a good sense, I'm glad that we have this, partnership. This is a tool, and it's a very good tool. You know why is it a good tool? Because it doesn't lie. Whatever it shows, it is. You can't fight this. So, the only thing I don't know is who maintains these cameras. Do we maintain the cameras? My new glasses. I'm pretty sure that we are the ones who maintain the cameras.
Yes, the city maintains them, and they're actually, every time we have an issue, we email them, and it's immediately fixed.
And I have absolute no problem with that, unless you charge for record requests that involves videos. Then you gotta give us some back. Gotta give some back to us. But other than that, I just say, guys, that I'm pretty sure that my colleagues here are gonna be in tune with me, saying that what you're asking, it's very little compared to what you do for us. So keep up the good work, and may God bless you. Stay alert, stay alive, most important.
Any other questions from City Council at this time?
I do. I have, if I could just, Mr. Mayor.
Please.
I first want to commend the synergy between both our IT department and the Flagler County Sheriff's Office for making this work. I would also just like to toot the city of Palm Coast horn a little bit, because these cameras, correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, but are powered by our infrastructure, our fiber net. So I think there's upward of 40 of these cameras that have been wired across our city, and this council and previous councils have approved expansion programs for our fiber to get to these intersections so they can power these cameras. So it is great that this infrastructure that we as a homegrown city have provided is now empowering our sheriff to be able to provide those services and keep the level of community that we expect in Palm Coast at that high echelon. So I just want to say thank you guys, and thank you for the synergistic relationship, and I continue to applaud you guys.
I just forgot to say something, if you don't mind. I'm glad you said that this is strictly for crime use, not for Big Brother watching over you. So that's good to hear.
And not to belabor the point, but Mr. Akins, as we grow, I assume that the number of cameras increase, and that's built into the program as we look forward to the future?
Yes, sir. It's set up so that any cameras we add automatically get added to the Sheriff's Department's access.
Very good. Thank you. Very good. Okay. With that, I would, any other questions?
I'll go ahead and make the motion.
Before that, I would open up for public comment, or do any members of the public wish to comment on this resolution this evening? I have the experts here, so seeing none, I'll close public comment, come back to the dais. Are there any additional discussion or questions at this time? Then I would.
Sheriff was gonna say something, I don't know.
Oh.
You still wanna say it? Or you wanna quit while you're ahead?
I'll quit while I'm ahead. No, I just want to commend the team. It's not me, together, the council, myself, we set the vision, but they carry it out, and it's a phenomenal team that works there.
That's the words of a good leader.
Very good. I'll ask for a motion at this time.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion.
I'll second it.
And we have a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion passes 5-0.
Very good. Sheriff, thank you for the presentation, and thank you for the introductions this evening. Mr. Akins, thank you for the presentation as well. Next item, Counselor.
This is item number 6 on the agenda, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, approving a work order with England, Thims, and Miller, Inc. for a pedestrian accommodation feasibility study of residential collector roadways, authorizing the city manager or designee to execute necessary documents, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing for implementing actions, and providing for an effective date.
Yes, good evening. I do not have a presentation for you tonight. This item is an implementation of further discussion by council to move forward with the pedestrian feasibility study to look at the neighborhood collector roadways and see how we can assess and analyze implementing pedestrian access on those roadways.
Okay, I guess my first question is, Carl, so this is approving a work order. Is there any detail to the work order? Is there a number associated with it, or?
Yeah, there's a dollar amount in there. I think it's around $110,000. There's a detailed scope of work in the agenda packet that outlines specifically all the tasks associated. They will basically be analyzing the roadways with city staff, making sure we identified all and had caught all the neighborhood collector roadways. We will then assess them into categories of types, you know, whether they have different right-of-way widths, deep swales, normal swales. Sometimes some of our roadways have much higher homes to sit much higher above the roadway. So we may have several types of neighborhood collector roadways. So once we put them into categories, we'll then analyze what options are available for each of those types. Some of them may have 0, some of them may have numerous ones. So we will then assess the options for each type, put some budgetary costs to them. We'll go through some permitting analysis with stormwater impacts and those sorts of things, ADA accessibility, and making sure they're all in compliance. Some may be just striping the roadway, and some options may include actually adding sidewalks on one of the sides, potentially. So we're gonna explore every option potentially that could be available for each of those types, put some budgetary numbers together. We will then look at putting together an implementation plan. If we were gonna move forward, how would we do that? So we were gonna put in some classification criteria in terms of how do you rate it? Is it based on, there'll be several factors involved. We will establish those with the consultant, and we were gonna hold a public meeting. Some of those criteria may be the number of homes that it serves, it may be the speed of the roadway, it may be the proximity to the schools. All those factors and others may be involved in how we would prioritize moving this program forward. So there'll be, after the public meeting, we'll finalize a report and we'll come back to council with a presentation of that study for council's input and direction on moving forward.
And this will include those areas that we regularly receive public comment on?
Correct. Cimarron Drive is one of those roadways that is part of this study, correct.
Very good, thank you.
Is this the first time this is being done?
This is the first time this is being done, correct. The city does have a sidewalk master plan, but it was really filling in the gaps across the city, and it was more pertained to the arterial roadways that didn't have homes on them.
Thank you.
Other questions from City Council at this time? Then I'll open up for public comment. Would any member from the public like to comment if they haven't already commented this evening on this issue? Seeing none, I'll close public comment, come back to City Council. Any further discussion?
If I could just note one thing. The extended packet that we all get in our agendas, I think it might be worthwhile if we just make sure that the community members here know how to access that, because there's a really great detailed overview of the services that they're going to provide and the different options with sidewalks with swales, sidewalks without swales, and it gives a diverse look at how we're going to spend these dollars, and it has a lot of answers to what I suspect are going to be questions about this process. So I think that might be
Good point. We'll direct staff to make contact to make sure that the public knows how to access all that detail that's in the package. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
A motion to approve?
I have a motion.
Seconded.
And a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item number 7, if you would read that in for us, please.
Yes, this is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, approving application number 4836 for the final plat of a parcel of land being a replat of a portion of a reserved parcel, 15-1, subdivision map, Winfield, Section 27, as recorded on the plat thereof, in Plat Book 9, page 36 through 50 of the Public Records of Flagler County, Florida, all being a portion of Section 23 and 26, Township 11 South, Range 30 East, Palm Coast, Flagler County, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing for implementing actions, and providing for an effective date. Council, this is a plat approval, so it's a quasi-judicial matter. If there's been any ex parte communications on this particular application for a final plat, please disclose them now.
Councilman?
Nope.
None.
None whatsoever.
All right, no conflict.
Okay.
Very good. Mr. DiLorenzo, you're going to introduce your team?
Yes. Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Jason DiLorenzo, Chief Development Officer. The next two items for your consideration is the acceptance of final plats, and just a little informational piece here. The final plat is a legal document that is recorded with the county clerk. The sale of subdivided lots can only proceed after the recording is completed. And the primary purpose of the final plat is to delineate property boundaries and to describe and dedicate rights-of-ways and easements. Both of these projects had previously approved preliminary plats, and that allowed the construction to commence, particularly for the infrastructure improvements like utility lines, roads, and stormwater retention areas. And one of the projects has model homes that have already commenced as well. So to my left is Dennis Leap and Mr. Bill Hoover, and they will go through the two projects individually for you to vote on individually.
Good evening, everyone. Whiteview Village Phase 1 is about 97 acres, and it's located at the southwest corner of Pine Lakes Parkway and White Mill Drive. And the MPD on this project was approved by City Council back in September 2018. The preliminary plat was approved, and infrastructure started in January 2021. And this property does have MPD zoning, and it's called Whiteview Village MPD. In Phase 1, there's 121 single-family residential lots and 9 tracts. Phase 2, for your information, should have 81 single-family homes additionally. The performance bond for the infrastructure that's remaining to be constructed, it has an amount in the amount of $1.944 million in change, and so they look at the total amount. Engineers like Mr. Leap here, they determine what that ratio is of all the utilities and stormwater and all that kind of stuff, so that's where that amount comes in. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt Resolution 2022-XX approving the final plat for Whiteview Village Phase 1, authorizing the mayor to execute the plat and staff to issue a final plat development order for AR 4836. And we're available for any questions you may have.
So let's start with City Council. Question?
Nope, I have none. I remember long ago when this was coming before us.
Average size lots. Are they all the same, or are they different size lots?
The lots are, some of them are
The lots itself, because it's going to be 121 homes?
lots, yes. They're all single.
97 acres.
Yes, I think it was 87 or 97 acres. And so the lots are 45 and 50 foot wide.
Additional questions from City Council?
Is this a gated community or?
Yes. Mr. Danko. Okay, were there any questions raised at PLDRB that goes way back in time? Anything that we should be aware of?
No, the final plat just comes to you, so you would have heard any comments from PLDRB at the last time you heard it.
Very good. Okay, so at this point, I would open up for public discussion. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on this resolution at the time? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Any further discussion by City Council? Council, would you like us to vote on this one and then go to the next one, or? Yes, please. So I would entertain a motion at this time.
I'll move to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Does clerk have it?
Yes, thank you.
Very good. If you would proceed with the second resolution, please.
I'll read that in. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, approving application number 4911 for the final plat of a parcel of land being Tract 22, a parcel of land lying in Government Sections 34, Township 10 South, Range 30 East, Flagler County, Florida, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing for implementing actions, and providing for an effective date. Like the last item on the agenda, this is a quasi-judicial matter, so if there's been any ex parte communications, please disclose them on the record at this time.
I've had none.
None. There are none from City Council. Mr. Hoover, I presume.
Thank you. The Trails is almost 188 acres. It's located on the west side of Belterre Parkway, south of Matanzas Woods Parkway, actually right across from Fire Station 23. The westerly portion of this site has a lot of wetlands, so the units are sort of clustered on the eastern area close to Belterre Parkway. The master plan was approved by the Planning Board back on August 19th, 2020. The preliminary plat was approved and construction commenced in May of 2021. And this project is part of the larger Palm Coast Park DRI and master plan development. This shows the layout. The north arrow is to the upper left, so you can see Belterre Parkway, and you can see where the units are. They're clustered with the wetlands basically being to the south or to the west on the bottom of the screen there. Total of 274 townhouse lots and then 13 tracks for things like stormwater and stuff like that. The performance bond for the remaining infrastructure was about $4.129 million. Staff recommends that City Council adopt Resolution 2022-XX approving the final plat for the trails and authorizing the mayor to execute the plat and staff to issue a final plat development order for AR number 4911. And we're available for any questions you may have.
So let's bring it to City Council. Are there questions from City Council? Please, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Did I hear it correct? 274 townhomes?
Yes, sir.
All I need. Thank you.
Councilman, any questions?
My one question, I'm just curious, that $4.1 million or whatever the figure was for the remaining infrastructure improvements, what percentage of that is actually completed?
That's actually the total amount of construction on this one. They just did it for the whole bond instead of what was just remaining.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
Is that also going to be gated community?
I'm sorry, sir, what was your question?
Is this project a gated community?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Councilman Danko? Okay, if there are no other questions at this time, I would again invite the public to comment on this resolution. Is there any member of the public that would like to speak at this time? I see one.
Hey, Greg Blasset. I'm president and CEO of the Palm Coast Flagler Regional Chamber, but today I'm a guy that lives around the corner from this development. And so often, you know, we have people show up and say, hey, we really oppose this. But I'll tell you, I'm really excited about this project. The number of units, you know, I do understand, but for me, when you look at it in terms of a community, it's on a major thoroughfare, close to interchange connectivity. The school's right next door, so if we're going to build multifamily units like this is pretty much the place where it should be located. And across the street from the fire station, if anything, God forbid, happens, you know, we're there. So for me, I think this is great. I've been watching it being built ever since our house was built down the street. So just wanted to come out and say that, you know, I think what's happening there is really good. So that's all.
Thank you for your comment. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak on this? Seeing none, I'll close public comment, and I will come back to City Council. Any additional questions at this time? Mr. DiLorenzo.
We confirmed that it's been construction is about 80% completed on the infrastructure.
Does that give you the answer?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, with no other questions, I would entertain a motion at this time.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion at this time? Then I will ask the clerk to do a roll call vote, please.
Absolutely. Vice Mayor Bronchino?
No.
Councilmember Barbosa?
Yes.
Councilmember Danko?
Yes.
Councilmember Clufus?
Yes.
Mayor Alfin?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
Moving on to Section H of the agenda, ordinances for second read. If I would ask council to read in number 9.
Yes, this is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, providing for the amendment of the City of Palm Coast 2035 Comprehensive Plan, as previously amended, pursuant to Section 163 Florida Statutes, amending the future land use map designation for 40.71 acres of certain real property from residential low-density real estate, which is a Flagler County designation, to industrial, a City of Palm Coast designation, as described in more detail in the legal description, which is an exhibit to this ordinance, including a note on the future land use map to limit development on the property to burrow pits and compensating floodplain storage, providing for conflicts, ratification of prior acts, codification, severability, and an effective date. City Council, this matter is a legislative matter as it is amending the comprehensive plan.
Very good. Thank you, Councilor.
No disclosure required, yeah.
Mr. Papa, you have a presentation for us.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. What I have is just a brief summary for both applications and to answer questions raised by Council at the last meeting. Just for a quick review, these two parcels are located south of State Road 100, about 1.5 miles south on Seminole Woods Boulevard. These are annexed parcels, and the Flume amendment is to change it to industrial with a corresponding zoning map amendment to change the parcels to industrial 2, which would allow burrow pits on the site, and we have a Flume amendment that also limits the uses on the site to burrow pits and floodplain compensation storage. As brought up, as asked by Council at the last meeting, you're gonna have 2 burrow pits here with depths ranging from 31.5 feet for one and 43 feet for the other. At this time, there are no additional information that staff will provide. As you mentioned, staff supports and the planning board supports both amendments. Applicant's team is in attendance.
Okay, I just had the same question I had the last time. The depth of 43 feet, will that in any way, shape, or form affect our aquifer or anything? Because I just want to make sure that that is not going to be a problem.
Yes, sir. No, sorry, it won't, because these burrow pits go through a permitting process with the St. Johns River Water Management District. So they do review that to make sure that it has no impact on such things as the aquifer.
Any other questions? I will send this to the, for public comment now. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak on this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Any additional question or discussion by City Council? I would ask for a motion, please.
Move approval.
I have a motion to approve.
Seconded.
And a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Mr. Clerk, have it. Very good, thank you. Item number 10. Counselor?
Yes, this is a second reading of the ordinance that goes along with the last comprehensive plan amendment that was on the agenda. This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, providing for the amendment of the official zoning map as established in Section 2.06 of the City of Palm Coast Unified Land Development Code, amending the zoning designation for approximately 40.7 acres from industrial PUD, a Flagler County designation, to industrial 2, a city designation. Subject property is more particularly described in Exhibit A and graphically depicted in Exhibit B, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing for non-codification, and providing for an effective date. City council members, this is a quasi-judicial decision, so this matter requires you to disclose any ex parte communications you may have had.
Councilman?
None.
There are none.
Staff has no additional information to provide. We're here to answer any questions.
Are there any questions on this item? Is everybody fresh from the last discussion?
Questions, I guess.
Management check this one out too?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
Same thing.
Thoroughly. Yeah. Very good. Okay, seeing no more questions, I will open it up for public discussion. Public comment. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Any additional discussion by City Council? I would ask for a motion at this time.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion to
Seconded.
approve
Seconded.
and a second. Any additional discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. Clerk has it. Thank you. Agenda item I, ordinance first read. Item number 11, Counselor, if you would read that in for us.
Yes, this is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, providing for the amendment of the City of Palm Coast 2035 Comprehensive Plan, as previously amended, pursuant to Chapter 163 Florida Statutes, amending the following elements: public recreation, open space, capital improvements, and public school facility, to update references related to capital improvements to reflect best available data and changes in local condition, providing for conflicts, ratification of prior acts, codification, severability, and an effective date. This is a legislative matter, so no disclosures are required.
Very good. Mr. Papa?
Sure. Good evening again, Mayor and members of City Council. Jose Pampa for the Community Development Department. This item are comprehensive plan amendments that are due to a review of our comprehensive plan through what's called the evaluation and appraisal process. And I will provide you background and what we're doing here. As required by Florida statutes, Chapter 163, every 7 years, city or anyone who has a comprehensive plan must determine whether the comprehensive plan needs update. And these are updates necessary due to changes in state requirements or changes in local conditions since the last evaluation. So the city completed the last evaluation and appraisal update to the comprehensive plan in 2015. After doing that review, we notified the State Land Planning Agency of the letter by letter of this determination, whether we need to update it or not. So we sent a letter about a year ago to DEO, Department of Economic Opportunity, saying that we do need to amend our comprehensive plan, update it, housekeeping. So after we, as required by state statutes, we need to submit those proposed amendments within a year. So our amendments are due on February 20th. The proposed amendments are due to DEO by February 10, 2022. So we're going to meet that deadline because if approved at tonight's public hearing, we will transmit these amendments to the state. And as required by Florida statutes, if we don't meet our deadline, then we're not able to adopt or amend our comprehensive plan until we submit those proposed amendments. So what the evaluation appraisal process does is that we should address changes, again, in state requirements since the last update, that was in 2015, and update the plan based on changes to local conditions using latest and best available data. So staff reviewed our comprehensive plan based on those two items, amendments due to changes in state statutes. So since 2015, the one statute that's changed is that in this year, 2021, I'm sorry, that's last year. The legislature did pass legislation that required all comprehensive plans to include a private property rights element. And if you remember that in September, last summer, we did complete that amendment to the comprehensive plan. So we've met that requirement, and then other changes to statutes since 2016 did not require us amending our comprehensive plan. So at this point, there are no amendments necessary to the comprehensive plan due to changes in state statutes. So the other thing that we looked at are amendments based on local conditions. And here we focused on to update references to documents associated with capital improvements. It's been 6 years. So here we looked at the public recreation open space element. The one thing we did is we updated the inventory of the recreational facilities we have available in the city. We updated a list of the short-range capital projects we have based on what's in based on the city budget that's annually adopted by City Council. So looking at the short range, 5 years or less, mid-range, 6 to 10 years, and then the long range, 10 plus years, which again, City Council reviews as part of the annual budget process. So what we did was basically took that and included it within our comprehensive plan. So now that makes our comprehensive plan consistent with the most recent adopted budget by City Council. And we did that also for the capital improvements element, which is just a general listing of all the different projects. And also the for the public school facilities element, we took the most recently adopted school district work plan, fiscal year 21-22. And this work plan does include proposed capacity improvements for Matanzas High School. It does include a new middle school and the planning process or planning phase for a new high school. So it is important that we adopt or make reference to that most recently adopted school district work plan so that we are working in sync with the school district on making sure that what their plan is for capital improvements, we acknowledge that as part of our comprehensive plan. So these amendments were presented to the Planning and Land Development Regulation Board, and we provided a finding that those proposed amendments are internally consistent with the other elements in the comprehensive plan, and they have recommended that City Council approve the transmittal of the amendments to the State Land Planning Agency. And with that transmittal, the state will review it like any other comprehensive plan. They'll provide us with comments or changes, and it will come back to City Council for a second public hearing for adoption. That will likely come in April. And in the future also, we are proposing to do a full update of the comprehensive plan. Our comprehensive plan is now has a time horizon of 2035. We propose to move that to 2045. So that would mean changes to data and analysis, updating those. And since a comprehensive plan is really a community plan, it's not what the planning department thinks should be the goals, objectives, and policies of the city. That's vetted through the community. And so with any update to the comprehensive plan, we'll need to do neighborhood meetings to meet with the public and update and get their input on what's working, what's not working, what they'd like to see change. And through that, we're then able to develop new goals, objectives, and policies, or amend the existing ones that we have, and to come up to our new 2045 comprehensive plan.
Mr. Popper, is that fair to say that we are well, at least pretty much in compliance with this comprehensive plan?
Yes, sir. We always remain in compliance, and that's what allows us to amend our comprehensive plan. As you see, maybe every 2 weeks or every month, we're here doing a comp plan amendment for the most part. And if we were not in compliance, the state would mention that and not allow us to amend our comprehensive plan until we come into compliance.
Thank you for keeping up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So, does that conclude your presentation?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. It does conclude my
Very
presentation.
good. So, a good point. So, by staff keeping us current with the state, I think it's a little bit analogous to, it's a biblical reference. The state descends on us like the locust plague every 7 years to make sure that we're current, but not really so, but in terms of your time. So that this represents a launching pad for us, for City Council, to begin to consider updates and or changes in the comprehensive plan. Because now that we know we have a starting point and it's current, I know that we've referenced that challenge on this City Council, and we should continue to look forward to how we might each want to apply comments and suggestions to the future comprehensive plan, in addition to the community outreach, which is a necessary part of it as well. Okay. All right, any other questions or comments? Very good. At this time, then, I will open up for discussion of the public. Any members of the public like to come forward and comment at this time? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Any additional discussion? I would ask for a motion to...
I'll move for approval.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Clerk has it. Thank you. Moving on to our consent agenda. I guess I will ask the City Council first. Are there any items on the consent agenda that City Council members would like to remove at this time? Okay, I can make the same offer to the public at this time. Are there any items on the consent agenda that the public would like to comment on at this time? Seeing none, back to City Council.
Approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion to approve.
Seconded.
And a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Clerk has it. Thank you. And we will move to item number K on the agenda, which is public participation. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on any item not previously discussed on the agenda this evening? Seeing none, I will close public comment. And now I will move to discussion by City Council of matters that were not on this evening's agenda. So, gentlemen, any comments this evening?
Sure, I'll go first if you don't mind. My comments are positive in the regard. I want to thank Parks and Rec for the pickleball tournament, the mayor's 30 for 30 pickleball tournament that we held over the weekend that I begrudgingly participated in, even though it was 39 degrees, but it was a blast, and it really showed the great outreach for our Parks and Rec to the community. Tons of people showed up for being blistering cold for Florida weather. My thin Florida blood isn't acclimated for this yet, but I just wanted to thank everyone who participated, and it really was a tremendous event, and when you look at the circumstances, it is impressive how many people were able to show up and enjoy, so thank you. And also, I'm sure the mayor will comment on his 30 for 30 challenges, but I think that's a tremendous initiative, so keep it up.
Very good. Next, Councilman.
For me, I would like to start with a question. Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you have met yet with the people from, they said that you're going to meet with the people from Flagler Beach regarding the 4th of July fireworks, and after you tell me, then I'll have a couple of comments.
Yes, I met with the chair of the Flagler Beach committee that is assigned to, that's in charge of their celebration.
And
his name is
Sprawley?
Scott Spradley. Attorney.
Are you going to brief us on that, or you don't think it's appropriate at this time?
I think the way we left it at the last council meeting was I was going to meet with them along with the interim city manager, and we would leave it to the city managers to make a decision on what was the best practice. Interim city manager, would you like to comment?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Mayor. There has been ongoing collaboration, very healthy, exciting collaboration to make sure we bring the most benefits to our community. And we have discussed that, Flagler Beach, City Manager Will Wilson, and had those discussions. And I can tell you tonight that our approach is looking to this year, what's been budgeted, focusing on what has been scheduled through our due diligence for staff and our community partners. So just to reflect on that is to have the fireworks at the airport for the July 3rd celebration. I just want to bridge forward a discussion point that we continually have collaborations. We're talking about the future, any kind of challenges, any opportunities, and that's my update for council, if that's to your satisfaction.
And if I may add, at the Tourism Development Council meeting, I spoke to several individuals from Flagler Beach, but I also wanted to make everyone aware that they might not even have the pier for some of these upcoming events after this year. So I know that we're kind of talking where we'll allow them to continue on July 4th this year, and then we'll swip swap in the future. But in the future, this upcoming couple of years, they may not even have a pier. So I just wanted to put that into perspective.
If I could only comment there. So the discussions had referred to the upcoming celebrations in 2022. There was no discussion beyond that at this time.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yes, so we're always in a multi-year projection, and so we look forward to any of those upcoming crossroads, I guess you would say.
I'm just
and
correcting the
opportunities.
concept of flip-flop. I don't want the media to misunderstand that.
Oh,
What
for
we've
sure.
discussed is the upcoming, and that's it.
Yeah, I
We
was
will have a
just-
future discussion for what we decide as a city that we would like to do going forward.
That's, well, that was proposed by Councilman Danko here last time that we were here talking about that we should talk about the possibility of alternating the years. Okay, one year they do it on the 3rd, and we do it on the 4th. The other year they do it on the 4th. We do it on the 3rd and do it on the 4th. Once again, I just think that's the fair way to do it, but then again, it's up to higher ups to just bring it to us, whatever it is, and then we just approve it or not. Now, something else, I had a call and came to my attention that someone from the county said that what will be the contribution of Palm Coast if we have the fireworks at the airport? The county tourism office already pays for the fireworks. If they do it, Palm Coast, do it at the airport, it's really the county's show at that point. Well, question is, what will be the contribution of Palm Coast? How about 41% of the taxes paid by the Palm Coast residents and businesses? That goes for the county. We, county residents, pay 41% of our taxes to the county. And then somebody, which I happen to like, has, excuse the word, audacity to say, what will be Palm Coast's contribution after 41% that we all paying for that? Me alone, a simple house here pays $3,000 taxes a year. And out of my pocket for the county, it's $1,230 if my math doesn't fail. And I don't, that's all I pay. I have friends that pay $15,000 taxes here, especially on a C-section. You know how much that is? So then we have the audacity of asking, what would be the contribution of Palm Coast? Give me a break, brother. Thank you. That's all I have to say for today.
So I have to kind of close up that conversation, so I'll revert to the interim city manager. Has the Flagler County approached us with any expense?
Not that I'm aware of, but Lauren Johnston, who's been really a great lead on this discussion, I just want to verify those conversations for council's benefit.
Because it's my understanding that there is no cost to the city of Palm Coast for the upcoming fireworks.
Well, this came from one commissioner.
I can only tell you what the city has received formally, and there has been no formal receipt.
Absolutely.
Other than, perhaps
But I cannot just
hearsay or comment. I
let
can't.
go by without mentioning it over
Okay,
here.
okay.
So Mayor and Council, we're working within our approved budget for this event. We do have operational expenses, and we're working with the airport on how and who's going to handle what for this event.
As we have done in all previous years.
Yes.
So
Yes.
let me suggest that we keep a wide eye open and enjoy the benefit of the tourist dollars that are directed towards our fine city to enjoy the bombs bursting in the air, and Councilman with the 8-inch mortars.
Yeah.
Very good.
I just have
Please,
one.
and Councilman Danko, yes, and I didn't mean to overlook
No.
the flip-flop concept was not being ignored. It's
Right.
just that we're looking forward to a point in time where there are unknowns. We can certainly have that discussion for the next,
I
for the
think
next
we
time.
need to have that discussion, and I agree with Councilman Burkino on the
Good.
cost factor too. In fact, I think, Eddie, you've paid for the fireworks already, so it costs none of us anything. But I did have one question, though.
Yes, sir.
As we talk about the pier not being operational out there, my understanding is fireworks can be done on a barge, and
You
there's
know,
nothing to prevent them from renting a barge.
You know, I have no knowledge. I certainly, I have no expertise in that area. That's why I'm suggesting we have that discussion when it's appropriate, when they kind of know their direction. I think the interim city manager made a very key point, that you have the city manager of Flagler Beach, the interim city manager of Palm Coast, and the administrator for Flagler County, all working together to produce the best celebration that we can possibly have. So I like the energy and the synergy, and they will all be receiving our input as we move forward. So good, thank you for that.
And if I could just
Please.
take a little bit of time, I just have a couple of actual questions. Months and months and months ago, we looked at a comprehensive litter program, a litter campaign. And I'm just wondering from our interim city manager or staff, where do we stand on that? And also, where do we stand on hiring a search firm to find a new city manager? Just wondering if we could get an update.
Thank you, Councilmember, at Council's pleasure. The litter campaign is alive and well in our planning process. In fact, we're thinking way beyond just staff and branching out into some energy that's going to come with our internship program. I hope you've seen that's out there posted for opportunities for our future leaders to come and work for us in the internship program. And so we're going to work through that energy and even beyond the boundaries of City Hall and look at some innovation specific to the litter.
And on the search for city manager and hiring a firm?
My understanding that the next step in that process is February 15. Am I correct?
Yes, I believe so, Renina, if you don't
Okay.
mind just verifying that for us.
We put it on GovQuote, and we put it on for 14 days, which ended on Monday. However, we did not have any quotes, so we reached back out to ICMA, and we sent emails to every search firm that's recommended by ICMA. So we sent individual emails to them, and we extended our quote for another week.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Very good. There's no
That's
questions?
all I have.
Councilman,
Nothing.
Or was
Just what Brent King said was right on point, you know?
thank you. I just have a couple comments at the end here. Let's see. I'm happy to share that we will host an in-person State of the City event on April the 21st at 5:30 p.m. at the Palm Coast Community Center. That is our annual State of the City address. The event is in partnership with the Palm Coast Flagler Regional Chamber of Commerce. We will take a look at the accomplishments of the city over the past year and get a glimpse into what is to come in the future. I bring it up especially, obviously, to note your calendars. It's my desire to ask each of my fellow council members to participate in the State of the City address by interviewing with staff and preparing a video on their message to the city on where we are and where we are going. So I would ask each one of you to reach out to Ms. Kershaw to schedule a date so that you can prepare your comments that will be presented at the state of the city. This is a departure from the way the program has been run in the past. I think the concept here is team, and I would like each of us to participate in the program so that the public sees that we each have a vision to share with the public. In addition to that, that takes care of that. So again, and Councilman Clusis, you said the Mayor's 30-30 Challenge. I guess it's, I'm very pleased to share now that the last day, sadly, is tomorrow, but I want to thank everyone. So far, we've had 258 participants who have logged over 15,500 miles. Now, I think that's quite incredible. So I don't know how many trips that is, either to New Jersey. It's a lot, Vice Mayor. So 15,500 miles. That is a lot of healthy walking that's been taking place. So if you all would, and for those that may be listening virtually now, join us tomorrow at noon in Central Park for a celebratory walk. We can walk slowly because I know I'm a little sore, to end the challenge. And I hope that everyone that has participated, I know every one of our council members have participated in their own way. Please join us if you can, but I thank everyone. I think this is a record breaker, and I hope that we can continue to prove to the public that there is a healthy way to live here in Palm Coast. So thank you all. And with that, that's my comments. I would move now to the city attorney. Are there any matters you'd like to discuss that were not on the agenda?
I don't have any. I do have a question for the council, though. You know, we are in the middle of a legislative session.
Middle of what, I'm sorry?
The legislative session in the Florida Senate. And I'm happy to provide updates to the city council if you're not already getting them through your own, you know, listservs, which I'm sure that you're on. I can do that in writing, or I can provide them, you know, during the city attorney comments at the end of the meeting. And if there's any specific laws that you're tracking that you want me to, you know, get an update on, I'm happy to do that too. So it's just really at the pleasure of the council. I'm just offering that out there.
If it's of municipal interest.
Well, I appreciate the offer. I mean, the public is aware and city council is aware. So we have our own speaker-elect, Paul Renner, legislative representative, and our Senator Travis Hudson, both proposing bills. So, I mean, certainly if you wouldn't mind giving us some kind of brief updates when necessary, I think we're all kind of following what's going on, but I think this is a correct place if you wouldn't mind giving us those updates as things change.
Sure.
All right, I think that would be wonderful because we have, what, another month and a half of session?
Yeah.
So good. Thank you for that offer.
Sure, no problem.
Any other comment?
Nope.
Okay, then I would ask the interim city manager, any final comments this evening?
No, thank you, Mayor. No
Very
further
good.
comment.
Motion to adjourn.
And I have a second?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you all.